This is Daniel with End Time Country Living, and on today's program I wanted to quickly show you folks how to deal with corn stalks after you've harvested the corn off of them and something that you can use them for. It's coming up on this program. So I am out in my little corn patch here, and this is where I had my corn growing this year. You can see in the background here there's still about we got 4 corn stalks left there with ears on them that I didn't harvest. I'm going to let those mature and dry out, and then I'll harvest those for seed for next year if I decide to grow the same variety next year. Considering maybe trying some different options. It is nice to have the early corn because there isn't a lot else going on right now. Later on in a couple months we'll have apples, we'll have pears, prunes to dry, and that'll be a lot of work, so doing the corn then would be a little bit interference. But it would be nice to get a little bit more corn off of them. They're fairly small ears, being more of an early corn. So anyway, I took the mattocks and went through and just whacked them off the corn stalks at the base there, just at the ground level, a little bit below. That worked really well to get them down, and then I scooped them up, put it in the garden cart, hauled them over to my compost pile, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with them then. So I have the corn stalks here in the garden cart, as you can see, and so I'm going to scoop up a big bundle of them and lay them on the compost pile, and I'll show you how I'm going to compost them down. So one of the reasons why I'm getting the corn stalks out of the garden now, rather than just letting them mature more and dry up and fall over, or just sit there, which would actually probably benefit the soil a little bit more, but there's so much more benefit to getting the organic matter from the stalks and composting that and then returning that to the soil, that I feel it's worth my time, and it's just going to be probably a little less effort later on to collect them, be a little less mass already, but it's still going to be effort to go out there and clean up the area before planting for next year. So might as well use the corn stalks when they're still green and luscious and full of juices and things like that. So those will be a green material that we can use in our compost pile. One method that I've tried in the past is to use a chopping block and a machete to chop them up. I found that works, but very time consuming, and I figured, since I need to then transport them all the way up onto the pile, why not just initially put them on the pile and chop them up there. It's a soft surface that I can chop onto, slice through into, so it not going to dull my blade by chopping onto the compost pile itself. I'm going to grab a big handful of them here, armful. Lay them on the pile here like this. And I'm going to take my machete here, and I'm going to grip it mainly with your index finger and your thumb like this, with these a little bit loose, and let it kind of flop around. Otherwise you're sitting there, a lot of wrist and arm motion. It's going to be a lot of chopping, so you want to kind of have it floppy and let the machete do the work, and make sure it's nice and sharp. Good sharpening stone or something like that will sharpen it up nicely and keep it nice and sharp. So I'm going to start at the top here and work my way down. Chopping is fairly finely as I can. It's probably going to be about 4 to 6 inch little chunks, just fine. Just try to get it as small as you can without too much labor intensive, obviously. And some of them aren't going to be chopped completely, but you can always chop a few more up at the end. So just kind of whack as hard as you can to get them chopped up here. When I get down to about here, I'm going to grab the pile and then move it up so I don't have to keep leaning over more and more. Just bump it back up and then I can start up here and have a nice comfortable standing position. You want to make sure you're getting through all of them. If you feel like you're not, then I would use less. It depends on your strength and how much you can do. This is probably about 20 of them that I'm doing at a time, but it's nothing exact. Just getting the job done quickly and easily here. And at the end, you just kind of look around for ones that didn't get chopped very much. Give them another couple whacks, and then go get some more. So that's the process that I'm using this year to try to get more green organic matter this time of year. This is about the 1st of August, and things are really drying down around here. Most of the organic matter that I have available to me that I've accumulated a couple weeks ago and before that is all pretty dry, pretty brown stuff that I've sucked up with the mower. I'm very thankful for it, but I don't have a lot of green to go with it. Chopping up zucchinis and anything else that's organic trimmings, so trying to get that all to get composted well. So I'm having to add a lot of water this time too to keep things kind of cooking. So anyway, that's just maybe give you some tips on what you can do with your corn stalks after they're done, and make use of them right away and turn them into green material for heating up your compost pile. So